How do you create a billion-dollar company from scratch? And why did the biggest US technology bank collapse in a matter of days? And what happens if one of the world's best chess stars suddenly goes all in at business? This is Norway Summit 2023, and these are some of the questions we're going to address.
I'm really happy to be here and to talk about entrepreneurship. And I just want to say, entrepreneurship is the worst possible thing you could ever do with your life. It is horrible. It is just a miserable experience. So I'd encourage you all to think of abundance versus scarcity, organizing information, putting a front end to information in a way that nobody's ever done before. Don't focus so much on brand. There's a lot of other ways to do marketing that are very important. And think of, before putting all into a business idea, do a lot of experiments and think of this not principle. And then finally, be prepared for your life to be miserable for the next 5 years at least, because being an entrepreneur is really hard and there's a lot of suffering involved. So on that note of inspiration and motivation, I'm open for any questions.
We are here to take risks. And the more challenging things are, the more people are afraid of taking risks. But you have to take risks. And somebody has to protect the innovator's voice.
What is talent to you?
So that's a really, really good question. And my definition of talent has changed in the last 2-3 years. You know, before the pandemic, I would say it's about who can do the job. And have they done the job? You base who can do the job based on who has been doing the job. And that was a talent. You find a talent that has done it, so you employ them to continue doing it. That doesn't work anymore because that doing it in the past does not exist. You know, just in today we learn about new roles that have come up as a result of AI being as prolific as it is. And this is not something new. In the last couple of years, it has been absolutely accelerated, the creation of new jobs. So how do you hire talent that have done it in the past when there is no past to go off?
As Shalina mentioned, it always has been difficult to find right people. Obviously, now we are in, I'm not sure with myself, is this evolution on steroids or a revolution?
He quit college, and at 19, he started building a business that became huge. It made him Europe's youngest founder of a billion-dollar company. You did it the hard way because you did not have a lot of money behind you. How much did you have?
Well, I started, first of all, researching transportation when I was in high school, and then I started the company when I was 19 years old. Everybody else was studying for exams. I was maybe foolish enough that I thought I can rather focus on the startup instead. So what I did, it was very humble beginnings. I literally had no money at all. So I, first of all, tried to validate the idea. So I started by Googling, how do you start a startup? And then all the advice you get is that you should first make sure you're building the right product. Don't just start building something because you think it's great.
What do you feel you're taking with you from everything you know about chess and strategy into business?
So I think the first, and I think I've said this before, probably in my streams actually, but there's a good friend of mine, he's a biotech CEO, and he told me that one of the differences between chess and business is that in chess, you're constantly thinking, you're making decisions on the fly. And in life, generally, you don't have that many major decisions. Probably a decision, okay, where you're born, these things you can't control, but say where you're gonna go to college or university, where you're gonna work, So I think for me, a lot of it is like the strategizing, thinking about these things every single time, like what can I do to change things? I'm always thinking about these ideas. What can I do to grow the brand? How can I make more money, frankly, these sorts of things. But it's a constant thought process, and I'm always thinking about it from the analytical side. And even just to use a YouTube example, one thing that I do with YouTube is I look at the videos, I look at like the hashtags, I look at like certain content. What are people watching? What are they not watching? And when you have this data over hundreds of videos, it can make a big difference.
And arguably one of the fastest growing, most profitable banks in the history of banking in the United States. It also was the fastest collapse in the history of banking in the United States.
What makes someone say, I quit, when you hit 10,000 billion kroner?
Well, if you have a job that is challenging, it's never the perfect time neither to start nor to quit it. But this was one of these occasions where it actually was pretty perfect, in my opinion. So you probably don't know this, but at the day that the whole of the official Norway celebrated 50th anniversary of the first oil exploration, it was a gathering in the Museum of Oil here in Stavanger, and all the ministries was there, etc. And you know, the fund has this ticker, which is our killer app, right, where it says exactly how much is in the oil fund at any time. And when they were having the ceremony, it's just turned 1 and then all the zeros. And people are calling me from the ceremony and saying, "You must be joking, you're playing around with this number just for the occasion." But it's true, you know.
Very same day.
Very same day, 50 years, and that was the 10. So, you know, it couldn't, it couldn't be a better time if you just want to choose a day and say, that's it.